Asked him if he'd like to go along with me as I spoke at the Citadel. He said he would. And while I was there, I used these words: "A careful man I want to be, a little fellow looks at me. I dare not go astray for fear he'll go the self-same way. I cannot once escape his eyes. Whatever he sees me do, he tries. Like me, he says he's going to be, this little lad who follows me." I sense that Harry and Charles had this relationship. And I sense that it's an honor to be here today and to honor the All-Stars, the Tryon All-Stars. So glad that relatives and fans are here, and that's a part of this program today. But I found out that Harry and I had a lot in common. And I thought of 3 or 4 areas that I'd like to share very briefly with you. Number one, the Bronx was the place that he grew up in, not too far from Yankee Stadium. And it was his field of dreams at that time, Yankee Stadium. It was also my field of dreams because I went to see a film when I was 14 years old. I got cut from my high school team as a freshman, but I made the American Legion team that summer, and we won the state championship, the regional championship, and we were playing in Charlotte, North Carolina against Richmond, Virginia, and the winner of that game would go to the American Legion World Series in Omaha, Nebraska. Before that game, they took us out to see a film, and the name of the film was Pride of the Yankees, the story of Lou Gehrig. Gary Cooper played his part in the film, and Babe Ruth played his own part in that film, and so did Bill Dickey, the Hall of Fame catcher on the Yankees. And I thought, what a great organization. I'd like to be a part of that. And it just so happened that before the game, Spud Chandler was a scout for the New York Yankees. And at 14, he asked the coach to hit me some balls and to hold at shortstop. And evidently, I made a little impression because after the game, he came up to me and said, "When you graduate from high school, I'll see to it you have a chance to sign with the New York Yankees." Well, I got ahead of myself a little bit because I wanted to say, first of all, that after I spoke at the Citadel, I took my friend Lee Fisher back fishing. And he said, "I thought you were going to introduce me at the Citadel." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Because I wrote those words 15 years ago when I recognized the influence that I had in my son's life." Well, that was his field of dreams, and mine was Yankee Stadium. And at 17, I signed with the Yankees. At 19, I joined the Yankees. And 9 out of the first 10 years, the Yankees won the pennant. And we were playing in World Series competition. I hold a record of playing in 30 consecutive World Series games. All that means is I didn't miss a game. Mantle and Ford and some of those missed a game. I'm the only one who didn't miss a game. And I think one of the highlights, and I bet you Harry was probably in the bleachers where he sat with his twin brother, and I just bet that he might have been there that particular day. It was the last game of the season. The only year we didn't win was 1959. We played the Dodgers in 55, 56, Milwaukee before Atlanta in 57 and 8, but 59, the Chicago White Sox won. Now, we came back in 61, played Cincinnati, 62, San Francisco, 63, the Dodgers, 64, the Cardinals. But in 59, going into the last game of the season, I know why the White Sox won and the Yankees didn't. We didn't have a single 300 hitter on the Yankees, but I was hitting 299. And Casey Stengel came over to me and said, "If you can get a hit first time up tomorrow, we'll take you out of the lineup and the Yankees will have at least one 300 hitter." Well, my best friend and hunting partner was pitching for the Orioles. His name was Billy O'Dell. And he said, "Moreover, I'll be throwing it right in there for you tomorrow." Brooks Robinson was playing third base. And he said, "Well, I'll be playing real deep if you want a bunt." They knew I needed a hit, and they wanted to help me along. And I got up to the bat, and the catcher said, "I'll tell you what's coming." And even the umpire at first base said, "Just make it close at first base." I hit a line drive to right field, and my best friend, Albie Pearson, made a diving catch. He didn't get in. He wasn't in on it. But I got 2 hits the next 2 times up and ended up with 301. Wonderful thrills in the game of baseball. And then I feel like that there was another area. I put down the 4 things that I thought we had in common. He certainly loved baseball. But I think one of the things that impressed me was he met Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. Well, in that film, at the end of the film, Lou Gehrig gets up at Yankee Stadium when he knew he had Lou Gehrig disease, and he knew he was dying. and didn't have too very long to live. And I got a picture at home. In 1961, Mantle and Maris hit the home run. 61 for Roger, 54 for Mickey. And they had a picture. They'd been in the clubhouse all those years of Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. It was on Lou Gehrig Day. Babe Ruth had already retired, and in street clothes, he had his arm around him. It's a wonderful picture, the original frame. And they took it down and put one up of Maris and Mantle. And the clubhouse guy, Big Pete Sheehy, came over to me and said, "Hey, Rich, take this home with you. One of these days, you'll appreciate it." And then not too long ago, in fact, about 2 years ago, Gaylord Perry was at my home and looked at that, and he said, "I've got something I'll send to you." He sent me a Babe Ruth bat and a Lou Gehrig bat. And I bet I've spoken in a dozen Babe Ruth World Series over the years. I remember one time I was speaking in Jamestown, New York. They had a parade, and the original Packard that was Babe Ruth's car was the one I rode in that day. But as I spoke that day, I didn't know that Babe Ruth's daughter was in attendance, and I said something about Roger Maris breaking Babe Ruth's record, and she piped up and said, "Yeah, but it took him 162 games to do it." And they had changed from 154 to 162. But we had a lot in common through those years. And then I can't help but remember that I was the 10th Yankee to have a day at Yankee Stadium. I hope Harry was that day. It was a wonderful day. It was September the 17th, 1966. It was a day I'll never forget. They gave me some wonderful gifts. There was an automobile that was given to me. But the one thing that made more meaning in my life than anything else was the mayor, Stephen and Alan. I remember so well, the mayor came up to Yankee Stadium, and he dedicated a baseball complex in my hometown to me. It's 4 beautiful fields. It has the press boxes inside, the restrooms, the concession stand. It's the most beautiful thing. Fenced in, there's a park, a water park adjoining it, a large tennis complex. It's probably the best in the Southeast. It's called the Bobby Richardson Complex. That was back in '66. It's about 4 minutes from my home. And I can ride over there as Harry used to ride from Spartanburg to Harmon Field. And I can sense what it meant to him because I know what it means to me. And so I'll just say very simply that it's a thrill to be here today and to be a part of this, Harry. And then finally, the thing that we had in common was a love for the Lord Jesus. And it was real in his life, and it was real in my life. I've had 9 of my teammates' funerals. I'm not a pastor. I'm just a Christian layman. My 2 sons are pastors, 2 grandsons are pastors, but I was not a pastor. But on every occasion, I was asked by somebody in the family. And Mickey Mantle asked me itself at Roger Maris's funeral. When I had the eulogy representing the Yankees, Mickey asked me if I'd have his funeral, and I did. Had to make all the arrangements. Found the right church in Dallas, Texas, and the Lord bless. Roy Clark came to sing. And the one thing I remember about that service that day was the fact that Mickey had a day in New York sometime earlier. And he had heard me use these words that I'll close with today. And he said, "I want to use those on my day in New York." He didn't have a chance. It was one of those days, and Charles, you would know about this, too much going on. Just didn't have time to bring it in. But on national television, when I had his funeral, it was so appropriate in here today as well. It says, "Your name may not appear down here in this world's Hall of Fame. In fact, you may be so unknown that no one knows your name. The trophies, the honors, the flashbulbs here may pass you by, and neon lights are blue. But if you know and love the Lord, then I have news for you. This Hall of Fame is only good as long as time shall be. But keep in mind, God's Hall of Fame is for eternity. This crowd on earth, they soon forget the heroes of the past. They cheer like mad until you fall, and that's how long you last. But in God's Hall of Fame, by just believing in his Son inscribed, you'll find your name. I tell you, friend, I wouldn't trade my name, however small, that's written there beyond the stars in that celestial hall, for every famous name on earth, all glory that they share. I'd rather be an unknown here, have my name up there. And I guess that really does say it all. And I'll just say that I'm glad to be a part of this today. I'm looking forward to the young Tron men that's got the opportunity of already being with the White Sox in AAA. We'll be working together a little bit later this afternoon. He and I have been signing autographs over there, and we will go sign some more for the balls that are fit. Harry, thanks for letting me be a part of this very much.
Bobby, I think everyone in attendance here and everyone who has the opportunity and the privilege to watch this video will undoubtedly agree with me when I say that there is no one, and I mean no one, that can connect the wonderful American game of baseball with the Spirit of the Lord like Bobby Richardson. Thank you so much. I'm going to reverse the order because I know you're a bit fatigued with speeches. Say a few closing remarks right now, and then Gordon will introduce our next ball player, a future star, Joel Booker, and then we'll move to the first pitches and have this inaugural baseball game. Before we do so, though, let me just take a few moments, and I know this will take a few moments, but it's important to express on behalf of the foundation a word of thanks to so many people who made this happen here today. And in doing so, I'd like to invite my brother Dale to come up with me to the podium. I know he doesn't want to say a word, but it's not just my father's statue that's being unveiled today. It's also his father's statue. And we're going to have this concluding word, then have the unveiling, and then turn to Gordon and Joel and turn to baseball, as we are all about here anyway. First, let me thank the people of Tryon, and through them, two important organizations who have guided and shaped our engagement with this project from the very first day. The Harmon Field Board of Commissioners and the Mayor and the Tryon Town Council. I'm not sure Steve is still with us here today, Steve Nellon, but I know that there are some commissioners with us here today. And if you are still with us, I'd really like to invite any commissioners, and that includes the former Chairman Benny Smith, to stand up right now and accept a round of applause. Thank you so much for everything you've done to guide us, to make sure we focused on your priorities and not just our priorities. We look forward to continuing to work with you. And thank you so much, Benny, for your undying support. We expect you to continue to be an honorary member of the foundation for many years to come. Let me also thank the mayor and the town council. They have been so engaged with us over the years. From the very start, when I sat in the mayor's office with my good friend Steve Parris, and he guided me every step of the way to make sure that I understood what were the priorities for the town of Tryon. Alan, all members of the town council, including Chris and others, please stand up now and take a bow. Okay. In that connection, I can't help but mention two other people who have been so critical to the work of the Board of Commissioners and the town council. On the commissioner side, this 47 acres just doesn't maintain itself. I don't know if Travis is out here with us right now, but if he is or is not, I just want you to join me in a round of applause for Travis, who is so focused on maintaining this field and the entire Harmon field. And where's Zach Ollis? Is Zach still with us? Zach, show me your hand there. Zach Ollis is the town manager of Tryon.